Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, June 24th, 2014. Got a longer show than usual for you today because we are going to be joined by Steve Wiltfong and talk a lot about quarterbacks, so hold on for the ride. We are pleased to be joined once again by Steve Wiltfong, Director of Recruiting for 24/7 Sports. This has gone over so well, we've decided that Steve's going to be a regular guest on Tuesdays, so we're ecstatic about that. Steve, let's start at the top here. Over the last week or so, the amount of quarterback information or quarterback chatter surrounding the Buckeyes is just simply incredible. Here's a list of some of the names that they seem to be in the mix for, and then you can probably put it all in context for us. The number one pro-style quarterback in the country, Malik Henry out of California. The number one dual-threat quarterback, Juwan Pass out of Georgia. The number 3 pro-style quarterback, Dwayne Haskins out of Potomac, Maryland. And then the number 5 dual-threat quarterback Brandon McElwain camped here the other day. 2015 was kind of a challenge for quarterback recruiting. They ended up with Joe Burrow, but there were some stressful times leading into that. It does not seem like Ohio State's going to be facing the same obstacles in 2016. Kind of handicap the race for us with those names and maybe how you think it's going to turn out.
Well, first, Dan, I'm pumped to be on every Tuesday morning on the Bucknuts Morning 5. Fired up about that, fired up to always contribute to this great community. Looking at the 2016 quarterback situation and handicapping it, obviously all those guys have interest in Ohio State. They visited, and Ohio State should be in on the top quarterbacks in the country with the track record that coaching staff has at the position at all the jobs that they've had. But 2 names immediately jump out to me. I think Dwayne Haskins is going to be the quarterback for Ohio State in the class of 2016 unless something drastically changes. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks that I've seen in person in that class. He was absolutely fantastic at the Washington, D.C. Nike football training camp. That weekend I saw several outstanding quarterbacks, including Brandon Wimbush, who's headed to Penn State, Jared Guarantano out of New Jersey, names like that. And I thought Dwayne Haskins, Kai Loxley was part of that group. I thought Dwayne Haskins was the best quarterback I saw that weekend, regardless of grade, the nation's number 3 pro-style quarterback, according to 24/7 Sports. He's visiting Notre Dame today. He's making the rounds, been to West Virginia, been to Maryland. But I just think something major would have to happen for Ohio State not to land Dwayne Haskins at this point. And then you got to look at Juwan Pass, who named the top 2 of Ohio State and Notre Dame following his trip. We'll see what happens when the dust settles and he's back home in Georgia, and he's back in SEC country with Auburn and Mississippi State, 2 other schools that he's very high on and has a great relationship with. He lives less than an hour from Auburn, so we'll see what happens when the dust settles. But those are the 2 that you have to be excited about when you're an Ohio State fan and you read what each young man had to say after their visit and say, well, those are the 2 guys that we have the best shot with. Brandon McElwain is a very very major talent, threw the ball very well at Ohio State's camp from what I understand and heard. But he's a guy that I think is going to be a tough pull when it's all said and done away from Penn State. So that's my tale of the tape with the quarterback situation in Ohio State in 2016.
I'm sure Bucknutters will be thrilled to hear that Haskins looked better than Brandon Wimbush. A little bit about Malik Henry.
It was just a one-day camp setting. Let's not run with that and say that I think that Haskins is for sure better than Wimbush. I honestly, I do like Haskins as a prospect better than Wimbush, but hopefully it doesn't come across that I'm not high on Wimbush, who has a strong arm and has all the tools to be a great player in Happy Valley, but Haskins is my man.
Yeah, I mean, you can couch it any way you want. Bucknutters are Bucknutters. They're going to like to hear it. Malik Henry, though, to me, he kind of jumped off I hadn't even, paid attention. Let's just say this. When the guy's from California, I'm always a little bit hesitant. So do you think this is just him kind of playing the recruiting dance and getting a chance to see an iconic program like Ohio State, and he's really not considering them that heavily?
Well, Malik made the rounds in the Midwest and saw all the prominent programs. But, when you read the interview that he did with our Notre Dame site, Blue and Gold Illustrated, and he talked about his best relationships, he mentioned Florida State, Michigan, Notre Dame, and UCLA. And I got a chance to hang out with Malik the week before that, and he mentioned his best relationships, and there were a couple other schools mentioned, and Ohio State wasn't one of them. So, I do think he likes Ohio State, but I'm also a big believer that it comes down to relationships, and maybe this is one where Ohio State's not as strong as where they are maybe in another situation as where you say a Haskins, So
let's hope it's UCLA then.
Right, and I'm not saying Ohio State.
If that's the case, then I think Malik Henry should go to UCLA.
I get it, and I'm not saying Ohio State's not recruiting Malik Henry as strong as the others. That's just what I've gathered and what Malik has said. And so, I look at what Jawan Pass said, and I look at what Dwayne Haskins has said, and I look at what Malik Henry has said, and if I'm an Ohio State guy, I like what Pass and Haskins has said better than Henry. But there's always curveballs in recruiting, so I guess we don't know.
No, but I think you're right. I think it looks like now that it's Haskins has the inside track, and then if not, maybe Jawan Pass. But I do get the sense with Pass that there is somewhat of a recency effect going on here and going through and being wooed by the programs, which is cool. And Ohio State makes a great impression if it works out in the end. And Haskins has a change of heart. It'd be nice to have a chance to go after someone like Pass. Steve, I'd be remiss if I didn't chat with you about July 2nd. That is the day that Justin Hilliard, the number one outside linebacker in the country out of St. X in Cincinnati, will be making his college decision. Hopefully you will be there. Steve is expecting his first child, so as long as he has his priorities in order, he will be there. That's just a joke. He may not. But still, it does look now like Hilliard's clearly down to two schools, Notre Dame and Ohio State. You followed this recruitment as closely as anybody. You've talked to Justin probably hundreds of times. As we stand here on June 24th at 9:28 a.m. Eastern Time as we tape this, what's your vibe?
I think he's going to be a Buckeye. I don't know if I don't think he's made up his mind, but I think that Ohio State's been the team to beat for a while now. I think that Justin feels very comfortable on campus around the guys on the football team. I think that could ultimately be the difference in his decision. I think he knows he could be very successful at both schools and sees a great fit at both schools. And it wouldn't surprise me if he chose Notre Dame, but sources close to the situation have never indicated that Notre Dame's going to be the choice. I get better information that he's going to choose Ohio State. Still some time to go before July 2nd, still some things to sort out. You can bet that he's going to have interaction with both coaching staffs leading up to the decision. So when something's as close as I think it is, you don't know what's going to put it over the top when it gets down to the decision time. But at this point, I like Ohio State. I haven't heard anything different to change my crystal ball. So my choice at 9:30 in the morning on Tuesday is Buckeyes.
Well, that sounds good. And considering the fact that it would probably melt the internet and destroy our site, crash it, and smoke and flames and brimstone and fire, if he doesn't, that'd be pretty good. Once again, we thank Steve Wiltfong for joining us. Again, he's going to be joining us every Tuesday to bring his special brand of knowledge. The Director of Recruiting for 24/7 Sports, Steve. Thanks again for joining us, brother.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care. See you next week.